All right, guys. So we are officially here. It is the start, technically, of James Gunn's DCU, Creature Commandos. Now, people have criticized this for being the start of the DCU. They've said that it's like a weird option to use to start the DCU, and I get it. James Gunn's reasoning has been that, well, it was just already written and it was like in the works of being done first before any of the other projects, so he's just releasing it. Like he's not going to just like arbitrarily wait to put out Superman first just for like optics sakes. And it's like I can kind of respect that because essentially what would have had to have happened was James Gunn would have had to just like arbitrarily keep this locked in a vault, and then like 6 months later Superman gets released so that he could like be able to say Superman is the beginning of the DCU. And it's like, I mean, he could have done that, and I think it would have been reasonable for him to have done that, but I think it's fine. I think at the end of the day it's a low stakes it's a low stakes animated series. It's not like Superman is going to be the true beginning of the DCU. This is like a prelude, I think. I honestly don't think it's that big of a deal. But we finally have some reviews for it, so let's check this out. Let me pull up my camera. um, so yeah, it currently, let me actually pull up the actual Rotten Tomatoes page. It's currently standing at a 93%, only 15 reviews, so it could go down for sure, or it could stay high, but obviously that's a good start. So MN Miller from Film Focus Online says James Gunn's and typo, review invalid. Oh no. James Gunn's animated series is feverishly funny and devilishly cool. Okay. Fico Cangiano from Cine Express says the DCU starts off with a bang. Thanks. Bang, thanks? Okay, full review in Spanish. Okay, fine. I'll forgive this. This is probably just like a weird translation error here. Creature Commandos is funny, violent, and gory while still being serious with emotions at its core. We get to learn more of each member bit by bit, and the music is great. Weird, splashy, and fun. All right, so I mean, this is kind of what we expected from the trailer. Okay, I believe this is, I'm guessing this is the only Rotten review. If I could do math correctly, which I can't. Ryan Britt from Inverse says, if DC was going to drop the nihilistic and brutal aspects of DC's previously shared continuity, that's not happening here. If anything, Creature Commandos doubles down on the old grim-dark DCEU vibe rather than forging a new path. So that's interesting, actually. So he's seemingly giving it a negative review because it feels too dark and nihilistic. That is something that I've actually heard James Gunn talk about in interviews, where he's kind of said that this is the first time where we're getting like a Suicide Squad type project, where we're actually like following straight up villains, and like I think they've said that. I think Dr. I don't want to like spoil it necessarily, but this is what stuff that he said in interviews, so he's clearly okay with people knowing about it. But I think Dr. Phosphorus specifically is like a straight up just villain. He's just a bad guy. There's no real like there, like from what I understand, there isn't going to be like a moment in this movie where like the Creature Commandos go like, you know what? We're just going to we're good guys now. We're gonna save the world because we're good guys and we have to go fight the actual bad guys. Like apparently that's not where this is going. So it's kind of interesting that this is actually a criticism, because yeah, I mean it is true that the not necessarily the DCEU in general, but the old Zack Snyder era of DC in specific, one of the criticisms was that it was a little too dark and there was no happiness or joy to be had. And this is my thing. I think when people were talking about that, they're specifically talking about Superman. Like, obviously it's fine for Batman to be grim, dark, and serious, but Superman, in the eyes of some people, should be a more joyful character. He should inspire hope and optimism, which a lot of people felt that Man of Steel did not do that. I feel like, Wonder Woman should probably also be that way. Although I don't know, that was the Wonder Woman movie necessarily as dark as Man of Steel? I don't know that it necessarily was. Was it? Probably not, to be honest. I feel like there was more hope and optimism in that one. In my opinion, I'm not obsessed with that kind of thing. Like, yeah, I would like to see a more happy, optimistic, inspiring Superman. Like, I do want that. But at the end of the day, like, if something is good, it's good. I'm not gonna hate on it just because it's not what I personally would have made. So that's my feeling on it. But that's the other point. This isn't Superman. This is Creature Commandos, which I don't think should have to feel like this is its own thing. I don't think it has to be like anything else. I personally don't have any expectations for it. Now, if we get to Superman and it's continuing down James Gunn's path of at least what he's done with his DC stuff, where it's rated R and it's dark and nihilistic and gritty and yada yada yada, then we'll have a better conversation. But for now, I don't necessarily know that that's not really a concern of mine when it comes to Creature Commandos. Anyways, he said, moving on, Cassandra Feltis from Black Girl Nerds says, Creature Commandos is a riotous... Is that a word? Riotous? Riotous. It is. Marked by involving public disorder. Interesting. Okay. We're learning new words here. Good time with all of James Gunn's trademark brilliance for storytelling and humanizing the strangest, most obscure characters. And that is also another criticism of this that I've seen is that James Gunn is just doing Guardians of the Galaxy, is just doing Suicide Squad again, right? He's bringing together a bunch of obscure characters. They're outlanders and in their respective universes. They're losers and they're coming together to form a team and they're gonna learn to love each other, whatever. And it's I get that, right? It just is something that he's done along, right? A lot. That is what Guardians was. That is what Suicide Squad was. That kind of is what Peacemaker is to a certain extent. And he's doing it again with Creature Commandos. I get that, but at the end of the day, I like it. I like what James Gunn does. I enjoyed his Guardians movies. I liked his Suicide Squad movie. I love Peacemaker. It's I don't know, what do you want me to say? Sure, it probably will retread some ground. But if it's well made and if I like the characters, then I'm not going to care about that at the end of the day. Now, I will say, I hope, right? I assume that Superman will be truly be James Gunn's moment where he's coming out of his shell. I just have to assume that that's not going to be what Superman is. Because I have to assume that James Gunn knows that he can't do his usual shtick with Superman. But I could be wrong. I mean, he could come out and do the same thing with Superman, and at that point, I mean, we'll have to have maybe more of a more damning conversation when it comes to James Gunn. But for now, I can't say that I really care all that much. Zach Pope says, and this is from Zach Pope Reviews, an excellent and awesome start to the DCU. Okay, Ben Gibbons from Screen Rant says, Creature Commandos marks the official start of the DCU, and with a team of monstrous anti-heroes leading the charge, it's off to a good start. Nate Richard from Collider says, if this series is any indication, the future of the DC universe is in very good hands. Just a lot of glazing, you know what I mean? Charlie Ridgely from comicbook.com says, Creature Commandos channels the quintessential heart and dark humor that have become calling cards of James Gunn's that have become the calling cards of James Gunn's found family stories. and delivers the best possible start to the budding DCU. Okay. Ernesto Valenzuela. And yeah, well, I guess one thing to address that I've been seeing a lot here, people are saying that it is a good start to the DCU. I'm not sure if they necessarily mean that from the point of view when it comes to world building, or if they're basically just saying that it is a good show, so it is a good start to the DCU. Because one of the things that I noticed in the trailers is that, first of all, I mean, this is something that we've known for a while, but Cersei is going to be the villain of this. And I know that I don't know Cersei, or I don't know much about Cersei, but I know that she's usually a Wonder Woman villain. So I definitely find it interesting that we're starting off with a Wonder Woman villain. Like, are we actually going to see world building in this where we learn about Themyscira and Wonder Woman and all of that? In another moment of the trailer, we see I think his name is Simon Stagg. He's a Batman villain, I believe. I think he's like an evil CEO guy. So we see like Simon Stagg, which might indicate that maybe we'll see Gotham in this. Maybe we'll see like just mentions of Batman and stuff like that. And in another moment in the trailer, we straight up see Clayface, and he's Clay Monster Clayface, which obviously indicates to us that, oh, okay, so we're getting fantastical Batman villains, right? We're officially we're officially going to be getting a Batman where he's not just fighting like realistic versions of his characters, like he's not going to be fighting Bane, but it's actually Bane with asthma. He's just a guy with asthma, like he was in The Dark Knight Rises, right? Like, if Clayface appears in a Batman movie, it's not going to be like what have been the rumors of the Robert Pattinson Batman, where it's like a guy that just wears different masks or something like that. It's just going to be Clayface, right? If Killer Croc shows up in The Brave and the Bold, it's probably just going to be a crocodile monster, right? It's not going to be a guy with a skin condition like it would be in the Nolan Batman movie. So, like, Creature Commandos, just based off of the trailers, absolutely is doing some world building. So I wonder if that's what they're referring to when they say that it's actually a good start for the DCU. Okay, and then Ernesto Valenzuela says, from Discussing Film, Creature Commandos is a colorful and action-packed introduction to the new DCU franchise, but it also already feels like creator James Gunn is repeating old lazy habits. Again, listen, I think that it's a valid criticism. I think it's a valid concern, but I'll just reiterate that I personally, as long as it's good, then I don't think I'm going to care that much. Ruben Barron from Looper.com says, Gunn knows how to keep this material entertainingly twisted while still treating his silly characters with emotional sincerity. The only major downside is that the show is doing almost nothing new. Yeah, I mean, that might be a valid complaint. Lauren Milici says, from Total Film, while it's easy to compare and contrast with Gunn's other works, Creature Commandos stands on its own. All right, so she's saying, no, it's not just a carbon copy. Yes, it's the same formula that we've come to expect from Gunn, but there's just something different here. This apparently Creature Commandos has a certain je ne sais quoi. So we'll see. I'll obviously come to my own conclusion on that front. Tyler Robertson says, from IGN Movies, James Gunn's classic recipe of lovable weirdos, great music, and lots of jokes and violence is on full display, but in a new, fresh way that's presented well in animation. Okay. Josh Wilding from comicbookmovie.com says, delightfully deranged, Creature Commandos is a crazy, captivating, instant classic that puts the new DCU on the map while offering fans an endless list of reasons to return each week. James Gunn has delivered a monstrous must-see. All right, this guy's going a little crazy with the puns. It's fine. All right. Mama's Geeky, Tessa Smith, says, this series has James Gunn written all over it. He knows how to take obscure comic book characters and create the perfect ensemble. It's bloody, dirty, and includes several well-placed needle drops. Cool. That I will say, when it comes to the needle drops, James Gunn just has a way of doing it that Hollywood has been trying to copy, I feel like, and they just can't do it. Like, I can't explain. I don't even really know why. I'll be honest. Like, I can't even really explain why, but anytime there's a needle drop in a James Gunn movie, it never takes me out of the story. Like, it only enhances what's currently going on. Like when Guardians of the Galaxy 3 starts, and we're in that scene where we're looking at Baby Rocket in the lab, and it's like zooming out of his face. Or wait, it's zooming into his face. I think it zooms into his face and then zooms out of his face, and he becomes older Rocket, and that song starts playing. I don't remember the name of it. But it immediately made me lock into the movie, right? Whereas I don't know, I'm trying to think. I think there was a moment in I remember there was a moment in Loki. I think it was Loki season 2, and I Need a Hero started playing during a fight scene, and I was just like, no, why are we doing this? I think I Need a Hero also starts playing during the freaking Mario movie, and I think it annoyed me in there as well. There's James Gunn just has a way of using needle drops, using popular songs, but doing so in a way that does not take me out of his movies. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that they're also in his animated series as well. Okay, and then this last one here, Jared Jones of the AV Club. Oh, he's a top critic apparently, whatever that means. Even with all these messy feelings and messier body parts flying around, Gunn's Monster Mash achieves the level of gravitas it so often seeks. Even when he's running in circles, the guy still knows how to deliver cheap thrills. Interesting. So, yeah, I'm not sure what he means by that. Is this in the context of his full review, I guess? You know what? We'll read his full review. He'll be the one review that we read the entire thing. I'll just do it. Whatever. Who cares? Let me see. Do I need to modify my thing here? No, I don't think I do. All right. Creature Commandos is touted as the first official chapter in James Gunn's DC multimedia universe, with co-chair Peter Safran, which feels exciting despite superhero fatigue now being a diagnosable malady. What are with these words? Malady? A disease or ailment? I swear to God, people who write articles, y'all be using thesauruses, okay? I don't believe that malady is just a regular part of your fucking vernacular. All right, I'm calling you out. The media. It's also packed with astonishing violence, a catchy jukebox soundtrack, and irrepressible horniness. I actually remember I was listening to an interview where they talk about the two characters that have sex in the show, apparently. I guess I won't spoil it because I don't need to. So there's no mistaking it for anything but a byproduct of Gunn's horror, junk, sleaze-addled mind. This, along with its eye-grabbing animation and subtle battery of DC deep cuts. That's again. This goes back to the world building. Is likely why casuals and ardent comic heads alike will forgive this Max animated series for feeling a bit old hat. For feeling a bit old hat, does that mean that it feels like James Gunn is repeating a lot of his stuff? I think that's what that means there. Because while there's novelty in watching a Frankentrix? What does that mean? And mythic sorceress scrap to goggle bordellos start wearing purple, we've seen this version of the supervillain team up before. Gunn, who wrote all 7 episodes of Commandos, charts a parallel course as the Suicide Squad, itself a reboot of David Ayer's 2016 Suicide Squad, with a typically baleful mission briefing from Argus head Amanda Waller, who is now... God damn it. What do we do? Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna bother highlighting it. I think you can follow along, I think. Was now forbidden from using humans for her mercenary operations after the finale of Peacemaker. Oh, interesting. So it does pick up on Peacemaker like that. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. Do these not count as humans? Like, Dr. Phosphorus was a human. Is he no longer considered a human? I guess not. Cherry picking soldiers from the non-human internment division at the Belle Reve Supermax. She updates Rick Flag Sr. On how to best cool the latest geopolitical hot potato with her deployment of chatty mercenaries. They're designated Task Force M for monsters. Creature Commandos isn't exactly fresh, but at least it's fun. I mean, that's the thing as well. Like, this show, when it was originally being created, it wasn't being made as the beginning of a new universe. It was originally just going to be a part of the pre-existing DCEU. But then, they Discovery bought Warner Brothers. The CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, asked James Gunn to become the head of of DC, and he made the decision to create a brand new universe. Then Creature Commandos just so happened to end up being the thing that's kicking it all off. So it's one of those things where it's like, I understand all of these criticisms, and I understand why, because of these criticisms of it feeling like more of the same, because of it feeling like James Gunn is just doing more of the same thing, why that might be. But I can understand why people would take all of that and then be worried that the future of the DCU is going to feel similarly. But again, this is a very specific scenario that has caused Creature Commandos to be the start of the DCU. But I'm personally not going to take it as some kind of indication of what Superman, of what Lanterns, of what Supergirl is going to feel like. I don't think that that's going to end up being the case. But we will see. Where was I? The Commandos are an eclectic bunch. There's the glow-in-the-dark Dr. Phosphorus, World War II mech veteran GI Robot, and the purported Child Slayer Weasel. Interesting. So, oh yeah, I think there was a line in the Suicide Squad where he said that he killed multiple children. Oh god, are they going to show that? Oh, that might be going too far. I don't know. There's also the kindly fishwoman Nina Mazursky. And the bride, as in of Frankenstein, a towering patchwork corpse infused with centuries of stark and agony, who emerges as the team's boozy warrior philosopher. Is the bride the boozy warrior philosopher, or is Frankenstein the boozy warrior philosopher? It is her. Birth is always horrible. God's gift to humans is he lets you forget it, she says at one point. Science isn't so forgiving. Oh, that actually does sound like a cool line. The bride is a standout with her gothy Marge Simpson hair, withering retorts. Vorma's line readings are clutch, and treatment of Frankenstein, who doesn't resemble the DC iteration of Mary Shelley's creation so much as Pepe Le Pew with bolts in his neck. Who doesn't resemble the DC iteration so much. So is he saying that Frankenstein is some type of way in the comics, and that in here he's not like the comic version? I think that's what he's saying. I also don't know what Pepe Le Pew is. What is that? Pepe Le Pew. He's saying he's like this character? What? Okay. We'll see what that ends up feeling like, I guess. I don't know. At first, the mission for which Waller has assembled this motley crew feels low stakes compared to the Suicide Squads, which, by the way, I don't mind a low stakes mission. I think one of the problems of, honestly, all of the major iterations of Suicide Squad, be it the 2016 version, was it 2021 or 2020 that the Suicide Squad came out, or Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, is that I don't think you don't need the Suicide Squad to be saving the world. You don't need to have them fight like giant starfish monsters. You definitely don't need to have them fighting the Justice League. like, um, like they can just like they should be going on low stakes missions that are dirty and grimy, which is why the government is sending them out to do it. That's why I honestly think that the animated Suicide Squad movies, I think it's called Batman Assault on Arkham. That movie is just blatantly false advertising. It's called Batman Assault on Arkham, but it's really a Suicide Squad movie. Um, and then there's I think it's called Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. Those are two animated Suicide Squad movies that are actually really good and they're really fun. Um, so I don't mind a lower stakes Suicide Squad story, to be honest with you. The sorceress Circe has recruited an army of incel militia types dubbed the Sons of Themyscira. Huh. Okay, interesting. Incel militia types. What does that mean? Like, are they an army of people that are in love with Amazons or something? Huh. But see, this is okay. This is interesting world. This is gonna be like interesting world building, dude. Like, yeah, like that's cool. I don't know, like the fact that we're talking about Themyscira. I just think that that's kind of cool. Um, that should go over well with Wonder Woman fans. To assassinate Ilana Rostovic, Maria Bakalova, princess of the fictional East European nation of Pakistan. The first episode sees the commandos take up residence in Rostovic's palace as the princess's reluctant bodyguards. They get a remote electric shock from Waller should any member go AWOL while Cersei forms her assault. Things take a chaotic turn for Flag and his team once Cersei's motives come to light and the true function of the commandos takes place. Gunn, ever adept at pulling compelling beats from the most absurd characters, made the Guardians of the Galaxy a household name simply by giving space aliens motivations we understood, which is also why Creature Commandos works as well as it does. What motivates a supervillain is only a cliche if the writer lets it be, and Gunn is too canny a storyteller, too fascinated by the make and psychology of these esoteric freaks and geeks to let their stories be generic. So Gunn takes detours from the series' pandemonium to explore the Commandos' origins, painting a vivid picture of who these oddballs are and why they're so willing to march to Waller's drum. For most, it's redemption by hellfire. Even Tudyk's cackling radioactive man gets a tragic backstory that explains why he's so picky about when, where, and how he uses those melting powers of his. He may have a permanent rictus grin, but he ain't smiling. So I mean, like, honestly, all of this makes me more excited for the show, because it's like, okay, I get it. It's similar to other things that he's done before, but like, again, at the end of the day, what Gunn, I think the main reason why I love James Gunn so much is just he gets the fundamentals of why movies are special. And it is because we are following characters that we actually genuinely give a shit about. Like, the main reason why fight scenes in big CGI movies just feel like schlock is because we don't actually care about the characters and we don't care about why they're doing the things that they're doing. And James Gunn always makes me care about his characters. So, yeah, I mean, this is only getting me more excited personally. Overall, the animation from Paris studio Bobby Pills is a happy marriage of Peter Chung and Invincible. What's Peter Chung? Let's see. Peter Chung. He's directed stuff like he's an animator and director. He's worked on stuff like Aeon Flux, Dark Fury. I don't really know much of this. The Animatrix. Okay. The Rugrats movie. Creature Commandos really pulls from the Rugrats movie. Okay, interesting. And Invincible. A frenzied gallery of expertly storyboarded choreography and engaging character business that only dips in quality once the dust settles. I wonder if that means that there might be some maybe dialogue scenes that maybe feel more poorly animated, but all of the action maybe is where they put the money into. I don't know if that's what that means, but we'll see. And while Commando's gnarly violence will surely be compared to Invincible, its action sequences strike a more nimble balance between mayhem and whimsy than that Prime Video series, inventively and viscerally deploying a varied array of superpowers attuned to the moods of the folks who wield them. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I'm not really sure what that means, but we'll see. There are moments in Creature Commandos when Gunn steers all this bedlam and depravity too far afield, and his sweetly calibrated emotional beats clash with the carnage. At 7 half-hour episodes, the series can feel overstuffed with information. It lays more track for the DCU than you might think. I mean, that's the exciting part, right? Or one of the exciting parts. And character details are sometimes jammed in seconds before they matter to the story at hand. But even with all these messy feelings and messier body parts flying around, Gunn's Monster Mash achieves the level of gravitas it so often seeks. Steel Yourself for the Weasel episode, which will forever change how you look at sleeping pets. Okay, we'll see what that means. Even when he's running in circles, the guy still knows how to deliver cheap thrills. All right. I mean, yeah, overall, at the end of the day, I am personally excited for Creature Commandos. I'm excited to see what it means for the future of the DCU. I like that right from the get-go, we're doing fun world building. And yeah. Let me know what you think about Creature Commandos. Are you excited? Are you going to be checking it out? Are you not excited? Are you like, this is what, more Suicide Squad, more Guardians of the Galaxy? I think I'm over it. If that's you, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.